All right, good afternoon. September 22nd, Wednesday. So we're about 2 hours and a half before the Fed comes out. So markets are reacting positive. So that's a good thing. So let's dive in. Again, we're going to continue this week from yesterday, but basically, looks like we are breaking up. So that's a positive, but we're still not out of the woods yet. So let's dive in. All right. So here we go. We're starting from the upper and left corner, same stocks as did before. We're going to start with the indices to get a market posture. So basically, XPX here. This is all the 15-minute time frame. Um, the only things that we're going to use is the 4, the 20, the 30, and the 50, and the MACD's time frame and candlesticks. That's the only thing we use, and then supply and demand. But basically, we broke yesterday's high on the XPX of this 43.95 again, and we broke the day before, so 44.05. That's a huge plus. We had a MACD bounce this morning, suggesting that it was going to go to the highs, and we went beyond. So, can it hold? All right. So, this is the morning session. We had a huge upswing this morning session. What's going to happen after lunch? I don't know. Are we going to pull back a little bit and head higher? If we do go higher, we got this 44.31 or 44.30 target. If Big if we can get beyond that, then the market look is looking back to normal. However, that's a big if. If we hit the 44.31 and go back down, that's something you want to consider. We're going to be looking at the MACDs to see if this momentum is going to die down. It looks like it's getting close, but we're going to go into the other time frames to kind of give us a better indication. However, the NASDAQ broke through again. So we have all two saying the same thing. We had this consolidation period yesterday and it popped this morning. Okay. So we had a bounce, a 50-day support bounce with a MACD bounce. These are the entries that you want to get into. So this was an entry this morning. Okay. It looks like it's about to die off. And we had this 15187 go. So we're going to go to this area on the NDX 15 to 90, which is about roughly about 100 points away. Russell was the first one to go. So yesterday it had a support bounce. It broke above the MACD and held. So remember I said yesterday this was bullish within this time frame. So not to be confused, within this time frame was bullish, meaning it's going to go higher. So this hit this 2220 this morning. Is it going to die down? Are we going to pull back after lunch and head higher, or are we going to pull back and go lower? So that's the thing you have to consider. Right now, it looks bullish. Remember, the Fed's going to talk at 2:30. Will they taper? Non-taper. I think what's going to make the market go higher if they delay the taper. The market might go higher. Doesn't mean it's going to go all-time highs. I don't think that's the case, but this is the market posture. If they do taper, we're going to implode. So keep that in mind and keep Evergrande in the back of your mind as well. See what happens there. Last night they came out saying that they're going to make one payment. Well, that's only one payment. What happens to the other payments? And how much exposure do the U.S. banks have? All right. So now, with that being said, we had a breakout on the indices in the 15 time frame. If these goes, remember I told you yesterday, Google's gonna go. Well, Google went. It went this morning. I had a yellow sign right here, yellow and yellow. That is where you want to enter the trades. A 50-day bounce and a zero bounce on the MACDs. And if you would take that trade this morning, you would have had a nice little profit, about 20, 30 points. So there you go. Amazon, same type of thing. If the indices go up, it's probably going to drive Amazon up, and it did. So again, we had a 50-day bounce, and you didn't get a support bounce. You got a mini one there, but remember, all roads lead back to the 50 or away from the 50. So if you're going to go now, Amazon needs to break 33.82, which is yesterday's high. Is it going to do it? I don't know, but I wouldn't chase that trade right now. Same thing with everything right now. Wouldn't chase it within this time frame. It's not a very high probable trade. You want to get into your trades as it breaks the 50, or if you want to take a trade coming back to the 50, then that is a more high probable trade than chasing going to the upside for the time frame. Tesla. Tesla again. Yesterday we gave this entry at 736. We're sitting at 750. It looks like it could probably go to the highs of the day before, which is around 760. 762 would be the next level up, as I mentioned before. Uh, Again, Teslas, the MACDs have been above zero, above zero. This is bullish, and it coincides with this bullish action we're seeing within this time frame. It's bouncing off. It's using the 50 as a support bounce. So these are the entries you couldn't got into um, in Tesla. What else do we have? We have ISRG is just going off to the races. So ISRG this morning had a support bounce very similar to the Russell. Okay, very similar to the Russell, and we're breaking above zero. So again, 1018. It looks like it's probably going to go back up to these levels around 1040. We're at 1032, and then it has this 1050. So again, you want to take a look at that. Those are opportunities that you can probably take on. Uh, Chipotle worked out very, very nicely. We're at 1922. I think the high here was 1927, but we called this out yesterday. So again, if you're sitting on this one, you're sitting on some nice profits. But CMG looks great. Good luck to you. Kudos to you. Again, these are trades that you should be taking short term. Again, lock in your profits. Don't stay in them long term because we're using a 15-minute time frame. All right, so that's what we have here. The overall indices are breaking up, so these are breaking up. So remember, we want to make sure that you trade according to what the indices are doing. So again, 230 can change everything. So remember that, and then we're going to go into power hour. Let's look at Apple. Apple again. So Apple hit that 145, 146. We said it can go to 145.60 or 146.60. So it looks like it's on its way. So remember, there was some demand here. There was some supply here. So we were looking at these areas, 148, to see if it's going to. Now, this is the daily chart. It is going to go back to the 50 on the daily chart, maybe 148, and see what happens there. Now, in the meantime, Apple is declining. Remember, it's declining. We're at these lows here of this 141 where there is some demand. It is going to go back up, but what's going to happen at this level? So just be caution here because the MACDs are still turning. It looks like it wants to form a base, but is this going to go up and bounce back down? And that's what we have to be careful of. And I'll show you that on the indices later at the end of this video. But I got to tell you one thing, Apple for sure could not break above this pullback. Is telling me that is changed because it broke above the 50 on the hourly charts. Again, we had a nice little entry there. If you want to take that trade again around 145, and I'll show you what it looked like on the 15-minute time frame. You would have got a clear picture of when to have gotten in, and you would have gotten in right at this level here, around 143, 144. You're sitting at 145.47. It's not a major mover, but hey, you can make some money off that trade. So this is what I'm talking about. We're looking at this right here, a 50-day bounce and then a zero bounce on the MACD. Not a zero bounce, but actually a bounce off the MACD, showing that momentum is picking up. So again, momentum was going sideways, and then it picked up right in here as it bounced off the 50. So again, that was a good trade. Manage your account if you got into that trade. What else are we going to look at? Let me see. Let's look at AMC. AMC still lingering. Nothing special here, just kind of going sideways. MACD's are telling me it's going sideways. That's GameStop. AMC is pulling back a little bit. We need a support bounce. Let's see what happens at this zero. Can it bounce and go higher? Um, and again, on GameStop on the 15 minutes, we're still right at that 50. Let's see what happens there. And here we're breaking above, but really nothing special is happening here. So let's see if this can get it going. And I will probably use this on the hourly because that's going to give you a better indication because it hasn't been moving that much. On the hourlies, AMC is giving you, it needs to break this 42, 43 here to get it going to the upside. To get a nice support bounce, we need to see that break. All right. What else are we looking at? Let's look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin, voila, look at this. It held that VWAP of 39.40. There's some demand here at this level and it's bouncing higher. Again, the MACDs are still working lower. It looks like it wants to turn. Again, Is this going to come back up and do another dead cat bounce? I don't know, but keep that in mind. That is a possibility right in here. So keep that in mind. MicroStrategies going up. Well, Bitcoin went up, so this is going to go up. So this is a trade. Now remember, the only thing with MicroStrategy, Bitcoin has to go up either pre-market and during the market for MicroStrategy to react accordingly and take these trades. But it's a great way to trade if you want to trade Bitcoin and MicroStrategy. You have MicroStrategy showing you what Bitcoin's doing, and you're off to the races. Again, you have 25 points off the morning when you woke up that Bitcoin was up. You could have taken that trade at 576, and you're up about 26 points, 25 points. Ethereum, same type of thing. Nice bounce. It's bouncing off this VWAP or the 200-day moving average of 25.91, and it's going up, but it's still going down. Can it form a base? And again, we're still below the 50 and below the 200. I remember Bitcoin, we're below the 200 and the 50, so it needs to come up to the 200. What's going to happen there? Can it bounce back down? So keep that in mind. Let's look at the overall market. So I'm going to go here to Netflix. Use Netflix because Netflix had a nice support bounce. I'm going to show you what Netflix did. Netflix had this flag pattern here. If you wanted to zoom in, there was some demand at 567. And basically, if you were tracking this, you can go into the hourly charts or the 15-minute. But if you were tracking that, it broke the 50 on the hourly charts. And that will be your entry this morning around 581. You're sitting around 595, and that is an entry. If you want to zoom in a little bit more, then you have another entry. So if you're setting this up, then gives you an entry. So right off the bat, you know that it was something was different in Netflix, right? We had an area here where you had supply, now it's demand, but you could have taken that trade, bouncing up to 50, bouncing up the zero line overnight, but 570, 580, and you're sitting around 15 points in profit. Again, 600 is going to be a huge area on Netflix, so just keep that in mind. But let's go in and let's dive into the overall markets. So I'm going to go in because we already gave on the daily. Daily, again, this is great on the XPX because we bounced, right? We had a supply around 4,300. We're at 4,403. Remember, this 50-day is going to serve a purpose. So what's going to happen at this 50-day? 44.37, 44.35. Remember, as I mentioned yesterday, and I guess it went away. But actually, let me go here. Let me see. Let me see. Oopsies. Okay. So remember, we are in the middle of this neckline, and I showed you that yesterday. Is it going to come back up or so it's back down? So a lot of things is pending. This is going to happen at 2:30. 2:30 can change everything. Remember, um, I'm trading very quickly today because I want to make sure that I'm ready for what happens at 2:30 or 3 o'clock. The Nasdaq is bouncing as well. Same thing as the Netflix. We're right at that 50-day. If we can get beyond that 50-day, the next low for the Nasdaq is this 15,280 to close this gap. I think the XPX has that too. We can close this gap around 44.24. This gap needs to be closed. All right. Russell is stopping at that 200-day moving average. This is the 200-day on the daily. Remember, on the 50 and the 200, we're below these levels. So that is still bearish. So even though we're bouncing, that's a positive thing. But the MACDs are still going lower. As you can tell, MACDs are trying to shift and turn. Let's see what happens there. And if the Nasdaq looks a little bit stronger than both of them. Now the VIX has died down. It looks like it wants to come down a little bit. That's great. The VIX did blow off, so fear is dissipated off of 28. But remember, we haven't been this high since May, and prior to that since February, and then prior to that since January. So again, this is a good blow off. Can we come back down? Now, if the Fed comes out, delays taper, then the VIX come down, and we are going to go back into a bullish market, meaning there are going to be some bullish opportunities for you to get into. However, it can go either way. This is a flag pattern. If they decide that they're going to taper, or this Evergrande is bigger than what they're telling us, then you're going to see the VIX spike back up, and then you're going to see bearish positions. So keep that in mind. And All right, it's exciting. We love volatile markets. Get used to it. This is a great market condition. Now go get it. Stay tuned for tomorrow.